Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Delaney, and for today's video we're going to be doing something that's very popular on my channel, and it was a short video that I filmed a really long time ago, and it's gotten a lot of traction, and I think that tells me that people really want to see that kind of content from me, so I'm going to go ahead and do something along those lines. I'm going to teach you how to conceal acne while keeping a more light coverage for foundation. If that's something that you prefer, you can always substitute the light coverage foundation for full coverage if that's what you do like. This is going to be trying to keep the lightest amount of coverage but still concealing imperfections and acne if you so choose to do that. As someone who deals with acne on a regular basis from high school on, you feel a million times more confident in your own skin if you do have some concealer on or some makeup on in general. I mean, makeup is used for confidence boosting and also for aesthetics and art and everything else, but it does improve your confidence, and that is the main purpose for this video, is so you can feel like the most confident version of you while still feeling like you in a lighter coverage, more of your like natural makeup, but with acne concealing. So if that's something that interests you, then keep on watching. Alright, I am starting fresh-faced. As you can see, I do not have anything on my face right now other than a moisturizer. So I did go ahead and add my normal moisturizer after I get out of the shower. This is the Snail Rescue from Peach Slices all-in-one oil-free moisturizer. I love this moisturizer so much. It is a more affordable version of the CosRX Snail Mucin one. It does have the snail secretion filtrate, which is the top ingredient in this moisturizer, just like the CosRX, but this is a more affordable version, and apparently if you have sensitive skin, this doesn't have as much of a reaction. Some people, apparently according to the Ulta associate that I had talked to, have had some reactions with the CosRX if you have sensitive skin, and they recommended this one, and I love it. I wear it every single day. Put it on right after I get out of the shower. It definitely feels weightless, leaves a little bit of a glow, but not like sparkle. I really enjoy that, and I do have dry skin, so this works, even though it's oil-free and everything. I really like this one. I also used an eye cream as well. I didn't want to show this just because I have many tutorials with me using it. It's just dabbing it underneath my eyes. It's not that exciting, but this is the Glow Recipe Avocado Melt Retinol Eye Cream. You can use any eye cream you want. Just make sure that the under eye area is hydrated as well. That's very important when you're doing lighter coverage makeup because you don't want to apply too much product. And if your skin is dry, sometimes you have to apply a little bit more because your skin soaks up that product. So you want to make sure your skin is nice and hydrated, including the under eye area. Now I did wait to put this one on because I usually like to apply it right before I do my makeup. So I'm going to put an SPF on. I wear SPF every day. This is the Fenty Skin Hydrovisor. It has a full name on it, but it doesn't actually have it written on the bottle, so I will pop it up right here. But I do love the component. I love that it's refillable, and you just buy the cartridge and then you refill, and you only have to buy the big one once, which I love because I go through it a lot. I use SPF every day, like I said, and this one is a lightweight version, not highly scented. I really enjoy the way it feels on my skin. It doesn't leave my skin overly like filmy like some sunscreens I've tried in the past. So I really, really love this one. Rihanna did something with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my hair up and we'll get to applying the sunscreen. All right, so hair is out of the way. I just did a braid because I don't want to put my hair in a bun. I don't know why. I just think it looks better like this, but hey, it's just anything to get your hair out of the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the sunscreen. It has like a not much color to it, a slight scent to it, but nothing crazy. But the one thing I love about this product, and I've used it in multiple videos, so this should not be a surprise to anybody, is the glow that it gives to your skin. It's not like a pearlescent glow, it's just a hydrated, moisturized glow. It looks like healthy skin, and I really enjoy that. It really stays well under makeup. It doesn't make my skin more oily. I mean, I'm dry skinned already, but oily skinned people, drop it in the comments if this works for you guys, but it works wonders for my skin. So sensitive skin people, don't be surprised. I'm looking at myself in the mirror, I'm sorry. If you see me looking over this way, I'm just checking that I blended evenly and things like that. Acne prone and sensitive skin people, do not be afraid if your skin gets a little bit red when you rub products in. That just happens with sensitive skin people. I don't know if it happens for everybody, but as you can tell, like the redness when you rub in products, it happens, it will go down, it will be covered up, don't worry. So sunscreen is applied, and we're gonna move on to foundation. Now in my previous video, my previous short that has gotten amazing views and apparently is very helpful for people, and I love that, and this is why this video is being made. In that version, I use color correcting as well as the concealer, and I do that first prior to foundation. I'm actually not gonna do that today. I will show you, you can do it in any order you want. I might not even use a color corrector. We'll see if I need to, but I do have some red spots here. This is a pimple, like a whitehead that popped, and it is red. Can't do much about that. This one is a little bit more dry, but now that we've moisturized, it helps a lot, which is why we moisturize before we do anything. Because if not, it would have like, you know, the crusty, like dry skin flakes around it. We don't want that. But I do have some redness on my cheeks and things like that. So we will be trying to cover this up. I have a spot right here as well. It takes a lot for me to be on camera without makeup, so I'm hoping you guys enjoy this video because, and it's a lot. I love makeup, and I rarely leave the house without makeup, so this is definitely a vulnerable state, but I'm doing this for y'all. One thing that has helped me out a ton is actually using a brush to apply foundation and frequently cleaning that brush instead of using a sponge. And because I'm using a brush, I want to use a foundation that lends itself well to using a brush. Sometimes foundations look better with a sponge. This one in particular is from Merit Beauty, and it is in the shade Bone. It is their Perfecting Complexion Stick. Now this is what I use when I want a light coverage foundation, something that'll just even out my skin tone, not be super, super high coverage. It's kind of a light, medium buildable situation. It's not gonna reach full, I don't think, unless you're really caking on product, but it leaves like this beautiful dewiness, and throughout the day it does wear well, but it's not the most long-lasting foundation. I have noticed that like at the end of the day I will be more oily, which never happens for me as a dry skinned person, but I like that. I like the hydration that it gives my skin. If I'm wearing it to, like, if I'm going to a wedding or an event, then I'm gonna need to have my makeup last like 16 hours. I mean, you're gonna be wearing it from the beginning of the day all the way till you go to bed. This one might not be the best, but for an everyday foundation that looks beautiful, wears well, and wears naturally, this is the one. And it's a clean beauty brand at Sephora. It definitely has done a lot for my skin. I feel a difference when I wear this foundation every day versus wearing my other like full coverage foundations every day. I feel like it gives my skin a nice break, and it's just healthier for my skin in general. Could be a placebo, might not be, but I really enjoy it. I'm almost at the end of this one, and I have a backup in my drawer, so I can tell you I really, really enjoy this one. I did receive it in PR, but that's my honest review. I really enjoy this product, and I even repurchased one with my own money. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to swipe some coverage. Usually 3 lines will do it on my cheeks, and then on the chin, 3, well, I could do 2, or like a little dot on the nose here, and then 3. And sometimes I'll do a little bit extra here just for those 2 little spots there. But the key to this is build, don't like overly apply. Just take it little by little and see what you actually need. And another benefit to using a brush instead of a sponge is you can clean it more frequently, and you don't have to buy sponges as frequently. I love a makeup sponge for certain applications. I love it for cream highlights and cream blushes, but for foundations, if you're using it every single day with acne prone skin, there's gonna be stuff that stays in the sponge. Unless you're switching out the sponge like constantly, you're gonna have bacteria and stuff in the sponge, and that's not great. But with a brush, not only do you have like more precise blending, but you also have less risk of bacteria and mold and things like that, that when you wet a beauty sponge, it's inevitable, and that's why you have to change them frequently. But it's also kind of a budget tip too. Even though this brush probably is more expensive than a sponge or multiple sponges, you'll get more use out of it because you don't have to toss it at the end of however many weeks or months that you use a sponge. I'm not even going to get into what the proper amount of time is with a sponge because it's different for everybody. Some people don't really care about that, and it works for them if they can use a sponge for weeks, they can use it for months, but some people have to change it out more frequently. But I have noticed a difference in my skin using a brush as opposed to the sponge. I will still use it for certain products, but not as my foundation and everyday tool. I'll just use it for certain things. So, as you can tell, this one product did a lot. Now, the key is using these like complexion stick, like these evening out kind of products, because it's more of a yellow base. I don't usually go for a yellow base, I usually go for more of a cool tone foundation, but because it has that yellowness in it, it's almost color correcting. It's not quite 100%, but it's evening out my skin tone, and then I can go back. I had a little bit more redness right here and right here, so I'm just gonna target those specific areas, and I'm gonna use less concealer by doing this. So automatically my skin looks a million times better. It just looks more even and a little bit more glowy, and that's what I really love. And I don't have to like take away the product. If I really want to concentrate it, I can use the smaller end of the brush, or I can just kind of stamp instead of swipe. Already with this one product, my skin, I could leave the house like this. I mean, I still have spots, like I can still see this and this and this and a little bit of redness on my nose, but I'm looking at the actual mirror and I'm looking on film. On film, it looks a lot like less, it looks a lot more airbrushed on film than it does in person, I will say that. I still can see the redness poking through, but it's enough covered that if I wanted to look like I'm not wearing any makeup, I would feel a million more times confident in this product alone than just my natural skin. So that is a win in my book. But yeah, in person, you can still see these things poking through. If I scoot in, you can see the spots still showing through. But from a distance, even better too. But we're not done. We're not done. So if you still want more coverage than this, hang tight, because we're about to get into that. All right, so next up, I'm going to go in with the IRL Filter Finish. The IRL Filter Finish Concealer. It's a soft matte concealer from Makeup Revolution. It says it's oil-free and long wear and breathable. It says 16 hour. I don't know about the 16-hour part. I haven't really tested that part. I feel like it does last a really long time though. My foundation is what usually goes before the concealer, but I really like this concealer. I pretty much only keep concealers that I like. I have this one in my drawer, and I have the Hourglass Vanish, and I have the soft matte concealer from NARS. So it's not like eyeshadow where I have a million options. I just keep the ones that I like. So the key to making it more natural is targeted coverage, and you don't need a ton of product either. So I'm just gonna add a little bit here, a little bit here, and then where I see my spots. So there's some here. I like to add a little bit on my nose just to give some brightness in the middle. I had 2 spots there, if you remember. I have a spot under here. I like a little bit of brightness on the chin, so I'm going to add some there as well. I do have some spots over here. Just going to add a boost of coverage to those, but not crazy. It's not like the normal TikTok kind of triangle or the lift or anything like that. This is natural makeup. We're not going for the contoured glam kind of a look today. If you want to see that, I have other tutorials where I do that. I can also make other ones if you want to see different ones, but this is just your light makeup for the day situation and an everyday makeup tutorial while getting enough coverage but not too much. At least in my opinion. If you want to add more coverage, you can always bump up the concealer. You can always add more foundation. You can also do a higher coverage foundation. You can customize this to any way you like, but this is just what I do. That's why I'm here on this channel. It's just to show you what I do, and then you can do what you want to do and let me know if it works. I do like using the smaller end of the brush for concealer. This is the conceal side. By the way, this is the Heavenly Luxe Complexion Perfection All Over and Conceal Brush from IT Cosmetics. I really enjoy this. I got this sent to me in Influencer for free for review, and this has been one of my most used items that I've gotten from Influencer, to be honest. I use this every day now. It converted me from wanting a beauty sponge application every day to using a brush. I always thought that the brush would leave behind brush strokes and just it wasn't going to be for me, but this changed my mind. So that would be why I am on the brush train now and not the sponge train. And if you look back at my channel, it's all sponge, 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 sponge until now. But I will also say the Merit Beauty Foundation, originally when I tried it, I didn't like it because I was applying it with a sponge. I think I was just applying it wrong, because then the brush, I use it every day now and I really like the way it looks. So that's another tip. If you don't like the way your application is for foundation or concealer, try to switch it up. Maybe it's just the application tool and not as much the product, and you could still try to save the product, because sometimes you might think it's that, but it's actually how you're applying it. So try a bunch of ways before you make your determination on if you like a product or not. That looks really good to me. This is definitely not full coverage. Like I was saying, you can see my natural skin peeking through. This is what I was aiming for. This is not the full glam. This is just enough so that I feel confident going out, doing my thing in the world. But I feel like naturally beautiful in this much coverage. It's taken me a while to get to this point, because before I felt like I needed to cover up any sign of redness, any acne scar, anything on my face that was not, like, I just needed to cover everything. It was more of a mask. Now it's more of a confidence booster, just something to help me navigate the world, but feeling like the best version of myself. And that is a great place to be. I hope that anyone who has acne can get to that point. It's taken me a while, but trust me, you can get here. I think this looks great. So the complexion is done. I will add some powder underneath my eyes just because I do have wrinkles, like little fine lines under my eyes, and I want that to be set before they like get into the line. So I'm gonna do that real quick and I'll be right back. I did want to show you where I apply the powder, just because some people may be interested in that. Powder puff here from Tati Beauty. It's not a thing anymore, but I really do enjoy this little puff here. And I just apply a little bit of powder, knock off a lot of the excess underneath my eyes. I add a little bit on the T-zone because, like I mentioned with this foundation, throughout the day I will get oily. So I want to make sure I set that T-zone because that's the first part of my skin to get oily. A little bit on my nose because my nose also is oily. That's all the powder I'm going to add because I don't want to dry out my skin too much. And I did notice that this one spot here is still peeking through, but that's perfect for our little demonstration. Here's where our best friend NARS Soft Matte Pot Concealer in Light 1 Chantilly for me comes in. This is my second one and it is almost done. It lasts a long time, so don't worry about that part, but I've gone through this now almost twice because I love it so much. Now I take a small brush and I just get it on the tippy tip of the brush. I don't want too much. I want to just lightly build. And this is the spot that I want to try to cover. It's hard to tell on film, but oh, you can kind of see it there. See how it is? I'm just targeting that one spot and then tapping it out with my finger. And there's another little spot over here. So you can do this and just target wherever needs just another hit of coverage. And see how I'm not applying any more, I'm not dipping in again for any more product. I'm just using the brush and getting places where I feel like need just a splash more. Now this is the part where I could easily start going overboard, and any place where I feel like there's any redness peeking through, I could just cover with this. And if you're gonna do an event or something, go for it. If you want it like full coverage, no imperfections showing through at all, you can do that. You can do something similar to my first video and just apply this before your foundation and let it set, and then apply something over. I will say if you're using a brush, just be careful not to brush away what you just did, but you can conceal as much as you want with this product. For today's purpose, I'm going light coverage, so I'm letting my imperfections kind of shine through a little bit more than if I was doing a full coverage face. So for my purposes, I'm stopping in this video at this amount of coverage. You definitely can do as much coverage as you want. This product is great for that, for concealing literally anything, scars, pimples, whatever, you name it. So now I'm going to put some hydration on my lips because a little crusty. So I'm going to use the Laneige lip sleeping mask. I use this just as like an all day thing, not a lip sleeping mask. Am I trying to talk while I'm doing this? I don't know. But this is in the vanilla flavor. It's heavenly. I've tried a lot of lip masks and I haven't found one that compares to this one yet. It is so nice, long wearing, cushiony. I sometimes wear the lip gloss as well. Works for that. Skincare and makeup all in one. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyebrows off camera and I'll be right back because that's not really complexion based. So I'm just gonna do that. I'll be right back. Alright, brows are done. I just used the NYX Micro Brow Pencil. If you've been watching my channel for any length of time, this is pretty much the only brow product that I use. And I just run it through my brows, nothing fancy. I try to make the ends darker than the front, but sometimes I don't have as much brow hair in the front, so I need to add a little bit more. I just do what I feel. I don't do any fancy brows, so if you're here for that, that's not what my channel's about. So, sorry about that, but that's what I do. I think they look fine. I don't think it's my best brow day ever, but hey, it is what it is. It's not what we're here for today. So let's go ahead and do some other complexion products. Now I'm going to bronze my face and do a little bit of blush, highlight, but I'm gonna do the lighter, more no makeup version of this. So bear with me. If you've watched any of my declutters and my collection videos, I have a ton of blushes and bronzers and everything, but one that I really, really love for this like no makeup kind of a look, and you can build it for glam if you want, is the NARS Afterglow Liquid Blush in shade Dolce Vita. Sephora, I think, has a holiday kit or a holiday like bundle for NARS with mini versions in 3 shades. I'm thinking about getting it, although I have shade Dolce Vita and I believe it's in there, so I don't know if I want an extra one, but this one is great, sheer buildable though, and it has a little bit of glow. So it has a doe foot applicator. I'm just going to do a couple dots, and it looks like a lot, but this is not like the Rare Beauty one that's like super, super pigmented. It's more on the sheer side, so this will just kind of blend into my skin and not be super, super pigmented. A little does go a long way, but it's definitely not like super pigmented where you'll mess it up pretty easily. It really starts out sheer and you can build it by adding more product if you want. But what I do like is that it provides this really nice glow as well. And so if you're not a highlighter gal like I am, you can just stop here. You don't have to add any more glow because this is already pretty glowy. But I think it just gives like a nice healthy glow to the skin, especially on a light makeup day. That's something that is pretty important. Now I'm going to use the Rare Beauty bronzer stick just because it's really nice and emollient and I can really build it to how I want. This is in shade Power Boost. I really need the more cool toned option, but this one does work if I use just a little bit at a time. And especially for the summer months, it does work for me, but in the winter it is too warm toned. So I'm just gonna, it's fall now, so we're kind of verging on not being able to use it, but my skin's still a little bit more tan from the summer, so I can still get away with it. But as you can see, it blends super easily into the blush. I like using the same brush because then it kind of helps everything just mesh together, and if there is a little bit of remnants of the blush and it's mixing into the bronzer, it gives you that kind of bronzer effect that I still really like. And it looks more natural. It looks more like a natural flush on the skin if it's mixed together than if you just have like your bronzer line and a blush line, and it makes everything kind of melt together really nicely. So I like that. Alright, I'm gonna avoid adding any to underneath. You can add a little bit underneath if you want, but I'm not going for like that contour situation today. So I'm just gonna, I think, leave it as it is. Now that was just the cream products. I will be setting it with a powder product to make it last longer. Even though it is light makeup, we do want it to last all day. Don't want to have to keep reapplying and touching up. But automatically you can see it looks like I'm not wearing makeup. It's just very light. It looks like, ooh, I could just have woken up like this. Which is what I really like about these products in general. So let's add a little bit of powder. I'm gonna use Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush one. I know I'm using a lot of high-end products in today's video. If you want a drugstore version, I could do that for you. This one is like a perfect bronzer for a fair-skinned gal because it just looks so natural. It's matte, so it doesn't add any extra glow, so it really lends itself to looking more natural. Now this one I can add underneath because it looks more like a shadow. It's a little bit more cool toned. The other one, since it's too warm for me, you don't naturally get sun underneath your chin. Like, that's just not how it looks. So if you're going for the natural effect, that's not something you want to do. I do like a little bit of bronzer on my nose as well. Perfect. All right, not too much, just enough to set that cream bronzer into place. And now we're gonna do some powder blush to set the blush into place. This is one that I have fallen in love with, and it's from the drugstore. It is Found Beauty. I don't have any other products from them. I'd be really interested in trying them. I found this at Walmart randomly on a whim, and I loved the way it looked like all swirly in the pan, and I just really wanted to try it, and I'm so glad I did because I have fallen in love with this. I've used it a ton, and there's still a ton of product in here, so it really is a bang for your buck, and it looks beautiful on the skin and adds a nice glow as well. And I found that it just really adds a nice natural glow, and you can build it up to be like really pigmented if you want. I just grab a little bit at a time, especially on the more natural makeup days, so that I don't go overboard with my blush, but you can really build this one up if you wanted to. But again, this adds a natural glow. We like that natural glow look. It maintains that highlight, and actually I think I might not need a highlighter today. I was originally gonna add one, but I don't know, between the glowy blush and the glowy powder blush, I think we might be okay. And any excess I have, I just go on my forehead, like I said, kind of blending in that bronzer with just the remnants of the blush. Not any extra product, just a little bit, just to kind of make everything look cohesive. And I have found when you're concealing acne that if you have a little bit more blush and bronze, it kind of detracts from the imperfections. It kind of like tilts the perspective. Like it takes away people looking at the imperfection and gives them something else to look at. Like, oh, she's got radiant cheeks and blush. Like it looks really good up there. And then it's like, oh, what imperfections? From a distance and up close. Even though I still had that light coverage, do you see the acne still? If you look really close, maybe you might see some peeking through, like I can still see a little bit there. But this is like a beautiful light coverage look that I still had a lot of acne underneath. But I would feel 100% confident walking out the door like this, and I am gonna walk out the door like this because this is my makeup for the day. But even if I didn't do any eyeshadow, this is an amazing look. At least in my book, okay? That's what I think, my personal opinion. But I'm gonna add a little bit of eyeshadow because I'm extra. So let's go ahead and dive into that. All right, we're gonna use an eyeshadow palette that I don't think I've used in a tutorial on my channel yet. This is pretty new in my collection. This is the Jason Wu Flora palette, and it is such, like, it has such cute packaging, and I love the neutral color story. I love that you get 4 shimmer shades. This one is more of like a pressed glitter, so I don't use that one as much, but the shimmer shades are absolutely gorgeous in this palette, and you get a nice gradient of mattes, so you can go light to pretty dark. It's not super dark, but dark enough for my complexion. There are other colorways that might have deeper shades in them, but this one really spoke to me, so I'm glad I got it because it's really beautiful. I'm going to start with the lightest shade and just add a little bit to the crease. This is not like a fancy eye look. This is just enough for a light coverage day. You can definitely do a fancier eye look with light coverage, but I like to usually pair it with a light neutral eye just because I feel like it goes with that no makeup type situation. And this almost mimics the bronzer. It's very similar to my bronzer shade that I used, and that's why I picked that one. just because it looks like the natural contour of your eye. Like, you would still think maybe this is actually what my eye looks like, which I like. I am going to add a little bit of dimension. I'm going to mix the two next darkest shades just because I want a little extra something. And I start and focus it more towards the outer corner of my eye. I know I'm looking over here. I'm looking at the mirror. I'm sorry. I need a better setup. But I like to focus it towards the outer corner and then kind of sweep inward just with the excess and make it all blend really, really nicely. Another thing about neutral shades like this is you could be a lot messier with it. It doesn't, if you mess up, it's not as noticeable, which is also another great thing for beginners. Start out with the neutrals and work your way up to colors. It just doesn't require as much blending, as much time either. When you think you've had enough of depth to your eyes, I could even go deeper than this. This is not a lot of depth. Don't get me wrong, this is not a lot, but I think this is enough for today's purpose. If I were gonna go out, I could transition by adding the deeper shade and just going over the glitter again, and that would be like a day to night solution. Usually by the end of the night, I have to like touch up the blush and the eyeshadow a little bit. At the end of the night, if I want to like transition from everyday to going out after, but keeping the same makeup, I'll just deepen the outer corner, potentially with the darkest shade, add more glitter and some more blush, and I'll usually be good to go. Now, if you think you need to, just take that lighter shade again and blend on the outer portions just to make it seem effortless and natural. And I'm just going to keep it like that. Nothing crazy. And this is kind of an extra step, but I am going to add a liquid eyeshadow before I do the glitter shade. It acts as a glitter glue, but also just it increases the longevity of the powder glitter shadow because I want it to last all day. I don't want to touch it up. I'm going to use the Pixi Eye Lift Max Liquid Shadow in the shade Sunset. This was sent to me in PR, but I really have gotten a lot of use out of it. I really enjoy this formula. It's not super glittery, but I have found this as an eye base is perfect. So I just put a little bit on the center of the lid and pat it out. Sorry, I'm not flicking you off. I'm just using my middle finger because that's just what I do. But it doesn't look like I did much because it's almost my skin tone, but it's just tacky enough to add a base for that glitter. So I think I'm gonna go into this darker one first, just to add a little bit of extra oomph, but beautiful. I like to add the slightly darker ones towards the outer portion of my eyelid, kind of like the center to the outer portion. See how it's like just darker than my natural eyelid is? It's not super dark, but we're gonna brighten up the inner part of my eye. Already shiny and beautiful. So I'm gonna take this one right here, which is the slightly pinkier version, but a little bit lighter. I'm gonna add that to the inner portion of my eye. And it's definitely more of a, like this one has a base to it, this one's more transparent. But I like those transparent shades for the inner portion of the eye. I just think it adds a lot of like brightness and sparkle. Heavenly, glowy, kind of almost looks like, oh, I might just be sweating, but glittery kind of a look. Great for natural. I love glitter even when I'm doing a natural makeup day. That's just how it is. Always add glitter. So if you want, you can always deepen up the outer portion again. I think this is enough. So eyeshadow is done. Now I'm just gonna add some mascara. Now because I'm not going anywhere that's in need of like super long wear for my mascara, I think I'm gonna use this one today. So when I need like my old reliable, long lasting, no flaking mascara, it's the Rare Beauty one. But if I'm going to use one that's easy to get off at the end of the night, that's just more light, still looks good and not as long wearing, the telescopic one, Telescopic Lift from L'Oreal. I just find that it does flake on me throughout the day, and I wish it didn't, but it's easier to get off at the end of the night, and ooh, oh no. Yeah, I had a little bit of a mishap with the mascara. This is why I should not talk while I do mascara. I clearly am not coordinated enough to do so without, I literally swiped it right there. But I just wiped it off with a Q-tip as much as I could. Then while it was drying, I took the spoolie and just scratched off the rest, added a little bit of concealer, and just added a little more eyeshadow to the end of it. Luckily it wasn't on the shimmer, it was just on the matte. But clearly I need to work on my eyeshadow, or my mascara application while I speak. But see how it does add a little bit of volume to my lashes, but it's not like, not falsies level. It's pretty good though. I just find that it's not as long wearing as the Rare Beauty one, and it flakes faster than the Rare Beauty one does. But pretty much all mascara flakes on me eventually, so it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm kind of used to it. I'm not going to build these up to look like falsies because I'm trying to make it look as natural as possible. A little bit on the lower lash line, and I'm just going to focus a little tiny bit more on the outer portion of my lashes. I like a little bit extra volume at the ends, just to kind of give like a natural full look, but without looking like fake lashes. I think that's perfect. Alright, so I'm going to do the other eye, not talking, so that I can get it done quicker. I'll be right back. Alright, it was clumping up a little bit on me, but that's okay because this is a learning experience here. So I take my spoolie and I just comb through the lashes to try to separate. See how that one little clump right there is just wanting to stick together? I just gently try my best to separate those and make it look a little less like a clump. Overall, I really like the look of this mascara. It's the longevity that my main problem comes in, but looks wise, I think it looks beautiful. And I do not have any fake lashes on, as you can see. I did cut just to get the spoolie, but as you can see, I got a little bit on me right here. So I'm just gonna take the spoolie, a little bit right here too. All we have to do left is lips and setting spray. So on a normal day, I don't do a lot of setting spray. I might use the MAC Fix Plus, but I don't need like the all-nighter or anything for just an everyday. But for lips, I'll show you my everyday combo. If I want to go warm toned, I do the Rare Beauty, what is this? Kind Words Matte Lip Liner in the shade Fun. It's like a warm pink shade. And then if I want to do brown, I'll do the Cab Beauty. I think this is in Teddy, but all of the writing has worn off because I've used it a lot. So I also like the Iconic Nude from Charlotte Tilbury. That liner's beautiful. Also the NYX lip liner that's retractable in nude as well is amazing. But this one is just, I've used it constantly. I do like to sharpen it just because it's nice and hygienic. But I've had this one since forever. I think it was either a BoxyCharm or a Pout Box where I got this, and it's lasted me this long. So I'm just gonna naturally line my lips. It's really hard to do this and not ooh my mouth, but I'm gonna try. And I don't wipe off the Laneige just because I want to keep it there, and it helps everything glide but also look more natural instead of a harsh line. It makes it more emollient. I'll kind of bring it up and do that just so it gets a little bit of color everywhere, but focus on the line. Overline if you want to, but for a natural makeup look, I probably wouldn't recommend it. But that is the natural lip, and because of the Laneige, it looks like I have lip gloss on, so that's even better. Alright, so I'm going to take my hair out, and we'll see the final look. Makeup is done. I really, really love it. I think it looks like I didn't wear any makeup at all. You could just tell pretty much from my eyes that I'm wearing makeup, but everything else looks really seamless and blended, and just a touch of rosiness for the cheeks, a little bit of bronze just for some dimension and color, but otherwise, if you saw me, would you think I have a bunch of makeup on? That's the point. It's just I don't want to look like I have a bunch on. But I hope this helps you. I hope this helps you feel more confident when you're in your application of makeup. I hope that it helps you embrace your skin imperfections, as people would like to call them, but it takes a lot to build up your confidence while you're dealing with acne. I completely 100% understand that. I still have acne even into adulthood, when it started in high school, maybe even middle school. But it gets better. You learn how to cope with it. You learn what's good for your skin, what's not. My acne has changed a lot and gotten better into adulthood, which is great. I take care of my skin better now, and I can see a change in the acne itself. It's getting smaller and less frequent and things like that. So hopefully I'll be able to actually get it under control pretty soon. But I think it's in a manageable stage at the moment, but I do get hormonal flare-ups. So even all these techniques are great because I will need them again. Eventually a flare-up will happen and I'll need them. But as a makeup person, especially on YouTube, I don't see a lot of creators who have skin issues. So it's, I think, important to show these tutorials and up close of how the makeup actually looks, how it looks on someone without perfect skin. Because that's important when you're buying products, to know what those products actually look like if you don't have just super smooth skin that every foundation works for. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Please let me know in the comments if you would like to see another tutorial, if you want me to do a full coverage glam with full contour, full highlight, full everything. I do that for pretty much just special events now on a daily basis. This is what my face looks like. I think it looks like me, just a little bit better. And that's the point. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're having an amazing day or night wherever you are. Stay confident, stay beautiful. You got this. Embrace the face. But yeah, that's all I got for you today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.